Warning: the following may contain dungeons. Join fantasy authors Phil Tucker, Timandra Whitecastle, David Benem, Benedict Patrick, and Josiah Bancroft as they roll dice and take on the bad guys in a game of Dungeons and Dragons. 5 authors, 5 worlds, 1 adventure. It's time to get crit-faced. The adventure begins.
Our adventure begins in a clearing in the woods. I'm not entirely sure where these woods are. It is early morning, possibly. It's very difficult to tell because the forest is cloaked in a blanket of mist that for some reason seems to be entirely avoiding this clearing that our camera, I guess in this case, is focused upon. Some superstitious people would suggest that it seems almost uncanny how the mist is not making its way into this particular clearing, but obviously there's no way of proving that one way or the other. The trees around the clearing just about loom into focus through the grey light that's penetrating through this mist. And then as morning continues on, a figure enters the clearing.
All right. And I'm assuming that the figure is surprised, right, Ben?
I imagine, yes.
Right. So he stumbles into the clearing, looking around himself in alarm and consternation, and tugging on the lapels of his brown greatcoat that falls from his heavily hunched back down to his shins. He's an older man, perhaps in his 60s, with very striped features, sort of a large, prominent nose and bushy white whiskers that curl down to join his sort of lamb chop sideburns. He's almost glaring accusatorily at the mist and the trees, as if blaming nature itself for his predicament. And he obviously looks quite lost as he continues to sort of wander through, and he stops right in the middle of the clearing and just sort of turns around in a slow circle before sort of giving a harumph, coming to a stop.
Okay. And then as this figure is standing around, he notices some further movement just beyond the tree line, and somebody else comes into view. And this hasn't been prearranged, so is there somebody who would like to come into view right now?
I can come into view.
That would be great.
Sure. Unconventionally handsome man walks into the clearing. His features are not well placed, but they are prominent, and he has a bearing about him which he believes passes for attractiveness. He has a little bit of a pot belly, but that's just a sign of how much he has enjoyed his life, and he is otherwise nondescript. He's a sort of person that you would pass on the street and glance at and never think of again.
So is this new figure entering the same clearing then?
Yes, I'm entering the same clearing, and I see the bearded fellow, and I say, "Hello."
He sort of glowers at you, and he says, "What is this place? Who are you?"
Well, I would imagine you know who I am. This place, it doesn't really matter. My name is Jean. Does that ring? Jean Marleme? Does this ring any bells? Jean Marleme. of the stage.
The old man's brow just continues to lower until he's like positively glowering at you.
Well, you're not
He says,
very
I've never
pleasant.
heard of you.
Well, that is your loss. I am quite well known. I have a beautiful voice. I'm quoted wherever I go. At least I quote myself quite a great deal. Yes, I'm quite famous. This is a privilege for you in many ways. And
this
you
is
are
not the stage.
well, it's all of life, really.
I see no audience. I see tickets. I see nothing of the sort. Only this blasted fog in this end woods that seem to extend in every direction.
I do admit it's a hard audience. This is going to take my best to impress these people.
Do you know the name of the land in which we stand?
It doesn't look familiar, but it's kind of hard to tell in the mist.
And as you are staring into the mist, somebody else walks out.
Then I will graciously take my turn as the woman. Do it first. So into the clearing rolls very adeptly and very swiftly a young woman who is small and thin and very neat, but travel-worn robes that seem to have swallowed her entirely. But she quickly whips back her very overlarge hood and comes to rest in the middle of the clearing, jumps to her feet, and immediately goes into a fighting stance.
I think she's surprised to see us.
Who are you?
Or she's attacking.
Well.
What are you doing?
I cover my face. Here we go. Don't ask him that question.
Who am I? Who am I? Apparently I am lost in the wilderness because I am Jean Marlamé. Have you not heard of me? Jean Marlamé rings no bells?
This is a very strange name, my friend.
It's a beautiful name.
The old man puts both hands over the head of his walking stick and just lets out an already long-suffering sigh and shakes his head. And this young lady, would you know where we are?
I thought you might know.
No. This is no realm that I have ever seen before.
I was walking down the road to the Kandarin Empire. Can you tell me where do I have to go? In which direction? I wasn't in a wood. And where is this mist coming from? Are you a sorcerer?
He sort of coughs into his fist at that accusation. He says, well, my own personal nature aside, I've never even heard of the Kandarin Empire.
You seem swift on the uptake, my friend. I like that.
You receive another glower and says, it seems that, if anything, this land is full of the uncouth.
This is obviously a bizarre audition. I fell asleep in New Babel. I had been drinking. It was an alley, but I fell asleep, and I can only imagine that we are still there. You are not New Babelites?
No.
Either of you? No? Okay. Well, is this part of the play? Has the audition begun? Is this the play?
I am not aware of any play that is going on.
Oh, that is confusing.
I think maybe finally we could have our fourth person enter.
From the mist comes a towering figure, a hard man with a hard glare, and he doesn't appear to have bathed in many days, nor brushed his teeth for that matter. Wearing a cowl, common clothes, and dragging a massive axe at his side. He looks about the group with an expression that seems just this side of becoming quite angry, and says nothing.
See, this man is obviously a stagehand. This is a good sign. We just need to find the director, and we can sort this all out.
The old man is staring at this barbaric figure and says, "Oh, there, stranger. Do you know where we are, or is this land only populated by the lost?"
I had been on my way to kill a man. I appear to have been waylaid.
Prior statement stands.
I'm getting the feeling that you might not all be devotees of the Playhouse at this point. If you will excuse me, I need to find an exit. There's a lot of mist, though.
There is. I am Lord Talfrin Blackoak of Anoia. However, I assume none of you have heard of that land.
You're Lord Talcum of what?
Halfrin.
Halfrin? And you made fun of Marlene?
The old man shakes his head and says, "Amuse yourself if you must. But I do not intend to stand around here all night. Do any of these directions look more promising than the other?" And he sort of turns in a circle, shooting a look through his monocle at the mist, seeing if there's anything distinct in any direction.
Okay, you turn, and again, because of the heavy mist and the general greyness about you, it's very difficult to tell which direction is north. It's just a general grey glow from the sky, or where you reckon the sky above you is. However, you do notice, much in the same way that the mist seems to be unnaturally avoiding the clearing that the four of you are standing in, there is also at one edge of the clearing a small dirt path that seems to lead through the forest and also through the mist itself, and you can clearly see a bit of the distance down this dirt path.
So I rummage in my huge oversized bag and take out a very small brass object, which is compass, because I happen to be in my world a cartographer. I tap the compass because it's clearly not working. The arrow goes round and round and round in circles. So I look around the clearing and I say, there must be something afoul here in this place. I cannot take the direction. There is a dirt path, but I am not sure whether we should take it.
I don't know.
Barbaric fellow gives himself a smelthy before saying that this entire place reeks of witchery. We should not stay here long.
I'm going to call you Big Man. I think that just, it rolls off the tongue. I don't know why I thought that when I looked at it. You are Big Man. Big Man, would you like to lead the way into the mist for us? I feel like this is a job for you.
Big Man nods his head and he says, anything to avoid listening to more of this nonsense. And he sets off down the path.
I raise my hand and say, stop, my friend. You should not go alone. We should first see if we can maybe clear the fog. Can anyone clear the fog?
Well, I mean,
let's not ask the actor.
Oh.
So I will try. I'm a pilgrim of the order, and I protect the innocent, punish the wicked, and guide the lost. So I will beseech my god, Tuil, the father of air, and will hope that he will breathe this evil, wretched fog away. So she whips out a quarterstaff and does like an arcane martial arts move that looks superiorly cool. And nothing happens.
Okay. Well, what would you expect? So what would she normally expect to happen if she did something like that?
It's sort of like an air force moving forward, like a breeze parting the fog, maybe.
And how? What would that sort of feel like? How, would she feel like she's getting in touch with anything to be able to summon that air force? I mean, how does she know when it's about to happen?
Well, in theory, just through the movement alone,
Mhm.
something should happen.
Mhm.
But she wouldn't be expecting like a huge, Moses in front of the Red Sea.
Yeah. So
Come on, Benedict.
No, I'm just checking. So you're right that the this force does not, it does not take place as she's used to happening. However, she does get the very strange and unnerving sensation that somewhere out there something has just taken notice of her. So that although her movements maybe have not contacted whichever deities or forces she's used to contacting, something out there is aware of what she's just done.
I didn't realize that we were going to try to dance the fog away. I'm actually a master at the waltz. I'm not too bad at the three-step as well. So if you would like, my lady, to take my hand, we can dance the fog away. What say you?
I'm not a dancer.
What was that then? That was this kicking the leg around and holding the arms just so. Is it pantomime? Are you a mime?
No.
Yeah, you do talk too
Where
much.
I come from, we kill mimes.
It's a critic,
The same
huh?
goes in my land.
Well, at least she's trying something. I don't see the rest of you gentlemen doing anything.
So I do not trust this fog. I think something out there is watching us, but I do not know how we should proceed now. So if anyone of you has any arcane powers of perception, maybe. Big man.
I believe we'd need nothing quite so esoteric. Let us just use our legs and a walk. And Lord Talfred begins to walk along the path with the use of his walking cane.
Okay. So you're heading out of the clearing?
Yes.
I think that's the consensus, that we're all going to leave
march
this
out.
one well-lit stage and just walk into the curtain of mist.
Okay. So is everyone following Lord Talfrin?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Hesitantly, but yes.
So despite the fact, obviously, that you're walking towards the mist, the mist does seem to avoid this small dirt path, and it's not a straight path. It does wind a bit, and it's going to take a short while to make its way through to its destination. So I was wondering maybe if we could catch the names of, I think there's 2 members here who haven't had a chance to introduce themselves. Maybe now would be a good time to find out the names of our other party members.
I'm Kellen MacRag, and I tolerate no trifles.
And I am Master Sana Orsoline, currently in the city of Babuk, but on my way to Arun.
Master, what was that, Tim? Master
Sana.
Sana. And Master MacRag. And Master Mallarmé.
Malaki, I thought his name was.
Oh,
Lady Marmalade, did I hear?
I was going to get you tickets. But no longer. Sit outside with the rest of the rabble.
Our hearts, I'm sure, are uniformly crushed.
Well, since we're just walking through the fog, I do have a concertina. I could play us a merry ditty as we go. How does that sound to everyone?
Yes, I am sure these dark, ominous woods are full of appreciative creatures who would love to hear us coming from half a mile.
I sense sarcasm.
Mm.
What if I played a dirge? Something dark and foreboding.
That would be more apropos, I am sure. But I think in this case, until we've discovered a little more about these environs, perhaps we should exercise a certain degree of caution.
I will amuse myself with impressions then.
So can we actually walk all side by side? Or do we have to walk in single file?
No,
or,
this would have to be single file. So I imagine, Lord Talfrin is taking the lead. So who and what's the rest of the order here?
I think I would be following after Lord Talfrin.
And
I'll take up the rear.
Okay.
All right. So eventually, the dirt path, maybe after about 15, 20 minutes of traveling, the dirt path opens up onto a larger road. So this roadway has seen better days, although the greenery does not encroach upon it. There are black pools of water, sort of like dark mirrors almost on the muddy roadway. There's giant trees from the forest that you've been in loom on both sides of the road, and the mist continues to be thick here. Master Sunna, you're the next time you glance at your compass, you realise that it has now actually begun working again. And you realise that this roadway is an east-west road. When you look east, the thick mist is there, as you would expect to do, maybe 10 feet away from you. You can't see any further, almost as if it's a wall of mist just begins. However, when you turn to look west, the roadway extends considerably further. Not the entirety of the distance; it still ends in mist. But I would say maybe a good 100 feet before the mist actually encroaches on the road to the west.
What's north?
More forest.
I'm starting to think that this is not a stage. That we are somewhere very strange. Does anyone else get that feeling that this is any of this familiar to anyone?
This isn't a terrain that is familiar to me at all.
Good.
There are certain forests in the north of Inoya who have this appearance, but I have never traveled to an area quite like this.
And this looks nothing like where I had been before meeting all of you.
And just based on standing downwind from you, that would have been a rubbish heap. Is that where you hail from, sir? There's just no excuse for smelling like that. That is foul. I think step one, we need to find a village, get this man a bath, and then we'll see what happens next.
I stare at him with an angry glower and tap my axe a time or two on my hand.
I take your point.
Perhaps we could avoid immediate conflict between ourselves.
Yes, we should stay together and maybe figure out a way out of this place.
Okay. All right.
Soon.
I will apply a little more rose water and see if I can't soldier through.
Despite it, Lord Talfrin gives a smile and says, well, I do not enjoy going out this time of night in the middle of the wilderness. Let us follow Master Mackerel's advice and find ourselves some civilization. Ian's walking down the street. The road, the lane, whatever it is, it's intent on finding something.
Mm-hmm. It's a road. You can clearly see that wagons and carts have used this, and it's although it's not in a great state of repair, it's something that is used mildly frequently. You can make out wheel tracks that haven't quite disappeared due to the weather in the mud. So is Lord Talfrin heading west? Is that right?
It's arbitrary. He doesn't say any reason not to.
Okay. It's just the western road is the one that's more visible to the east. You've got this wall of fog stopping you.
Sure. Okay. Let's stay away from ominous banks of carnivorous fog.
Okay.
Agreed.
Is everyone following Lord Talfrin?
I say we party now. And the rest of the campaign working on two different games.
That would make my life terrible.
No, I think we should stay together because we don't know where we are, and clearly you're not all murderers, not all of you. So I think that I can bear your company for a while. Let's go west.
Honored.
Okay.
Indeed.
All right. together. And now this road's considerably wider, so you could walk 4 abreast if you wish, or in whichever order. But we'll continue on. Maybe 5 or 10 minutes. You realise that you're not reaching the fog, the end of the fog that you can see in the distance. You realise that the western road, despite how far you travel down it, continues to remain open in the distance, almost as if new road is appearing to walk down. Slightly more disturbingly, you're also aware that the road behind you is being engulfed in this fog as you move away from it. So behind you, maybe 10 feet away, is this wall of fog that continues to track your progress.
Crit Faced is a weekly Dungeons & Dragons podcast. To make sure you never miss an episode, and to get an exclusive prequel episode of the podcast, where you can find out what our characters were up to before this adventure began, head over to critfacedpodcasts.com and join our Crit Faced fan group.